Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything from hair to fashion to skincare products. We'll talk about the latest trends in makeup, hairstyles, and anti-aging remedies. And we'll cover all of the newest fashion trends. If you have an interest in or questions about the beauty and fashion trends that might work best for you, the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast has got you covered.
Welcome to the GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Colleen, and let's just get into some beauty tips. Now, for those of you who have listened to this podcast before, you may notice that I sound a little bit different today, and that's because I am very sick. But the show must go on, must go on. But just excuse the way that I may say things or my sick brain. I thought that today would be a good day to talk about beauty tips for when you're feeling sick. When you're sick, sometimes you have to go into work, as I am today, and also you need to, you've got life to do, and you never know when you're going to get sick. It's just going to hit you right in the face. I wasn't sick yesterday, and then I woke up this morning, and man, I was very sick. So let's talk about some beauty tips that can help you kind of take this sickness and put it in a different direction. Make it look like you're not very sick, at least, or put yourself together enough to be like, yeah, I'm doing okay, So let's start with your face. So when you first wake up and you're sick, your face is probably pretty puffy, you've been blowing your nose, you got a lot of red going on, you're just not having it. It's, you got a puffy face and you want to get rid of that. So let's talk about some ways to help get rid of a puffy face and kind of make you look a little bit more alive and less dead. So first things first, moisturize. The number one thing you want to do is moisturize. Your face is going to be so incredibly dry. You've been blowing your nose, around your nose is going to be dry, and if you blow your nose and do stuff like that throughout the day, you want to make sure that your face is moisturized enough to handle that constant abuse that you're going to be giving it through the rest of the day. So moisturize or a little bit of face oil or something like that. Definitely focus it around your nose. If you're going to be blowing your nose a lot, focus it on your drier patches. It's really going to help when it comes to the longevity and the rest of your makeup. Now take a little bit of extra time in the morning when you're getting ready, and if you can while you're getting ready, because you really want to be able to cater your skin to what's going on. Take some extra steps, take a little time, do a face mask if you got it, like that kind of thing. Really focus on your face and focus on the hydration, because that's going to help you out so much when it comes to really getting your face to look a little bit more alive, because you want to look a little bit more alive. You don't really want to look like, you don't want to look like you're sick. That's the whole point. The whole point of this is you're just trying to get to the point where you're not sick anymore. You're just trying to get to a point where you look healthy enough to go in and do your job, get it over with, and then go home and sleep for way too many hours. But, so moisturizing and taking care of your face is key before you do anything else. Now, another thing that's really good to do after this is to prime. Now, you may not prime all the time, and that's okay, but prime to protect your skin. You are sick. Like, that's just how it is. You got cooties. Prime to protect your skin, and just, if you're gonna lay down makeup on top of that, it's still giving you that layer. It's the same as if you were doing your makeup normally. Priming really is to protect your skin. So if you have a primer, try to prime with something that's going to be, once again, a little more hydrating. Your skin is going to be so dry, and just keep that in mind. Even if you are more oily, your skin is going to be so dry today. You're going to get a lot of those dry patches. You're going to get, so try and stick with things that are going to be a lot more moisturizing. So, another thing that's not so much makeup related, but can really help, and I would do before you do anything else, is some eye drops. Some eye drops to help that redness go away so you don't look as sick as you feel. This is also you don't look as sick as you feel. But, so eye drops can be really helpful with this, really make your eyes look nice and, awake and not so like you've been up all night throwing up or something. Now, before you put any makeup on, think about this, keeping your look simple. You don't want to go extravagant today because you're not feeling good and it's going to show. So keep everything simple. That's what you want to do today. So for complexion, one thing that I recommend is we're really going cream here, not so much powder. Once again, your skin is going to be so dry. Your skin is going to be like my skin all the time, otherwise known as the Sahara Desert. Sahara. I don't know. The Sahara Desert, the Sahara Desert. But that is my skin all the time, and your skin is going to be the same because you're sick. So you want to go with things that are a little bit more moisturizing. Also, I would go with some stuff that's a little more sheer. Don't go for your full coverage glam today. I mean, I'm never one for a full coverage glam for me or even a lot of clients that I do, but I think that definitely for this you want to go with a sheer coverage. So BB cream is a good thing, and it'll just give you a nice even out skin tone. It'll just even your skin tone out enough to give you a look like your skin tone is even and you're feeling okay. It'll just give you a lot healthier of a look than if you're going to go for full thick, full coverage glam. Now, a BB cream is good, but also just a light coverage foundation can work as well. Or even just going in with concealer. You could even just skip your foundation step altogether today and just pull in that concealer. Just a little concealer to help hide, the redness or a little bit of the blemishes or stuff like that. And just keep it real simple. Today is simple. You just want to look fresh and alive. That's the whole point of this. You're not going to look, a lot. You just want to look fresh and alive. Now, when you're using a lighter coverage foundation or concealer, or even if you're using a full coverage foundation, just go really light, thin layers, like I say every single podcast. Light, thin layers. This will help you a lot. Just stay real natural on the face and try as much as you can to stay away from powder. So I would also recommend just not going the whole, I gotta put on a full thing of bronzer and some powder highlight and stuff like that. I would try and stay away from powder as much as possible today. You're feeling sick, your skin's real dry, that powder's really gonna kind of show up on your face, and that's not what you want. You want to look like a presentable human being for your work. That's just what you want to do. You want to sit there and you want to feel good about how you're looking, even if you're not feeling so hot. So once you've got that on, you got a little bit of foundation or just some concealer, then I would, like I said, skip the powder and just try and stay simple with this. Now, if you've got an important meeting, something really important you need to go to, but you're feeling really not good, a thing that you can do to help if you've got a real puffy face, you're not feeling good, is to contour. But I would go with cream contour once again. That's just something I would do. Stick to creams today. You're not feeling good. You need that hydration. You need to look supple. I'm trying to find the correct word, but you need to, you want to look healthy. You want to look healthy and glowy and just alive. So definitely stick with a cream contour if you really need to. And that can help reduce the puffiness or help make the appearance of a reduced puffy face. It's not going to help you, and I would only do this if you really going to something important or going to a meeting or something like that that is really, really important to you. You don't want to do this if you're just going to a job where you're not really going to see very many people, or you're just going, get it done. You know, you want to put a little makeup on to go to the grocery store because you're feeling real bad. Don't contour. It's not necessary unless there's something very important you need to do and your face is looking real puffy. Now I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some more beauty tips for when you're not feeling so good like I'm not.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
The GSMC Beauty Tips podcast. Now, before the break, we were talking beauty tips for when you're sick, because I'm not feeling too hot. And also, if you were hearing some noise in the background, I got my 2 dogs in here giving me a little bit of support today while I'm not feeling too hot. So let's move on to some other stuff. But I want to point out something that I didn't think that I brought up a little bit earlier, which was when it comes to puffy under eyes. I want to talk about what's going to work best for puffy under eyes. And I'm talking about something that's got a cooling effect. Now, I talked about this a little bit in my last beauty tips, that something with a cooling effect will really help you depuff the under eyes, but this is a really good thing to take into account when you're not feeling too hot. So a lot of times you can get eye creams that come in an applicator that is metal at the tip. The applicator is metal, and that will help with that cooling effect and give a cooling effect as well. If you're using an eye cream, you can also pop it in the fridge for a few minutes or the freezer for a few minutes. Nothing more than a few minutes, trust me. But if you pop that in the fridge or the freezer for a few minutes, put that under your eyes when you're ready, it's really going to help with that depuffing. Also, try and stay away from anything with a harsh chemical in it. Don't do any sort of peels or any sort of peel-off masks. You're not feeling good, don't irritate your skin. Like I talked about in the first portion of this, you really want to sit there and take care of your skin. You want to really moisturize and give attention to your skin and not give too much. Like you want to help and make sure your skin is looking healthy and feeling healthy, not feeling pretty gross. Like you don't want to exfoliate or anything like that today. That's just not a thing to do because you're not feeling too hot, and that's not good for your face. Now, let's move on to shallowness. If you don't know what shallowness is, I didn't either, but shallowness is when you're looking a bit dull and just like dead. When you're looking a bit dead, you know, when you're sick and you look in the mirror and you're like, whew, is that me? And then you're like, oh, wait, no, that is me. Oh God, why? But a good way to combat the shallowness is really to add a little bit of blush, but try and go very, very light. And I would once again recommend a cream blush. Sorry, it's that sick brain, I tell you. But a cream blush will really help because they can be sheared out really far, and you don't want a lot. You want enough to give a little bit of a flush look. You want to stay away from any sort of red tone because that's going to make you look even sicker than you already are. Now, if you're already quite flush, if you're already quite pink or red, from, being sick as I am today, then I would say to stay away from adding blush. And just when you put on your BB cream or your light foundation or whatever you're going to put on, even just your concealer, that little bit of red will kind of act as a blush even though you haven't put any on. And I would stay away from blush unless you're looking sallow, if you're looking dull or kind of like a corpse. You don't want to look like a corpse. So let's move on to eyes. Now, when it comes to eyes, like I said earlier, we want to keep our look very, very simple. So the best thing to do is I would definitely say prime, because then that'll help whatever you're going to put on your eyelid stay, if you put anything on your eyelid. Today's a day where you don't have to. You could just put on some mascara and go. But if you're going to put anything on your eyelid, you could go with just one color, one little wash of color in your crease, or even just a cream sparkle shadow. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a highlighter and I'll just put that on top of my lid and stick with that. I'll just put the highlighter on my lid, kind of pat it around, make sure it looks nice, and leave it at that. Now you could put a little bit of brown in your crease and stick with that as well. I would go for something a little more warm tone, just so you look a little more alive and not so dead. I would stay away from cool tones just in general when it comes to this, just because we're trying to look alive. That's the whole point. We're looking alive so we can get our life done today. That's the whole point. Now, another thing that'll really help you is to stay away from black eyeliner today. It's not the day you want to do a wing. It's not the day you want to put black eyeliner in your waterline. If you want to put anything in your waterline, I would go with a white or nude eyeliner. This is really going to open up and brighten your eyes up and really make you look more awake. And this is something that I definitely recommend. Now, going on to eyelashes, like I said, you could just put some mascara on today. I would go with a waterproof mascara, excuse me. My brain. But I would go with a waterproof mascara today. And this is really going to help because your eyes might be watery from being sick, or you might just be rubbing at them or whatnot. If you feel like you're going to be rubbing at your eyes all day, I would stay away from putting anything on your lids. But if you do go and put mascara on, then I would definitely do a waterproof. This is going to help so you're not just, your eyes watering and you're rubbing your eye and you're not just rubbing it all over your face. That's the last thing you want to do. You're going to look worse than you did when you woke up this morning, looked at yourself in the mirror, and you're like, oh, who is that? Oh, wait, still me. So go with a waterproof mascara. Waterproof mascara is really going to help. Now, along the lines of mascara, let's talk about eyebrow gel. Now, this is something you could do to just kind of give you a little bit more of a refined look for the day. You're feeling gross, you just want to do your eyebrows up a little bit. I would go with an eyebrow gel. Just a tinted eyebrow gel can help just right through the eyebrows and you're done. You don't need anything else. It gives a little bit of fullness to your eyebrows, and that's it. You don't have to go through your whole 12-step filling in and adding gel and doing this and doing that. No, just a gel. You could even just do a clear gel through your eyebrows, and it would look good. I really think just a little bit will help add a little bit of oomph to your look and make you look a little bit more alive and not so much dead. As I've been saying this whole time. Not like you're dead. You're not dead. I'm not dead. I'm just saying you want to look a little bit more alive, especially if you're working in a place or something where you're going to be seeing a lot of people. You don't really want to look like you're, about to fall out of your chair and just die. So when it comes to eyebrows, just keep it simple, just like the rest of it. The real thing with this is just keep it simple. Trust me. This will be the biggest tip. Keep it simple. If you go overboard, it's not going to help you out at all. You're going to look like you're sick with too much makeup on. That's just what it's going to look like. I've done that before, and people ask you more than if you just got a little bit on. Are you doing okay? Are you feeling okay? And you're like, yeah, I'm not. I'm not feeling okay, and I know you can see it. So I just keep everything simple and clean to give a little bit of freshness, to give a little bit of life without doing too much. That's the whole point here. So a little bit of eyebrow gel goes a long way, and this can really help to add to that look, to really add things. Also, a soap brow would be okay. If you've got the time and you've got the patience to do a soap brow, I've talked about a soap brow in a few other of my podcasts, but it's basically just getting a clear soap in a spoolie, running some water, making a little bit of paste, and running that through your eyebrow. It's basically an eyebrow gel, does the same thing, it looks good, you can go with that as well. Now, I'm going to take a really quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some more beauty tips for when you're not feeling too hot.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be, visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Beauty Tips podcast. Now, before the break, we were talking about beauty tips for when you're sick. And we did talk about a lot of base makeup, and I want to stick a little bit to that. I did say you could use just concealer instead of foundation if you felt like it, and I want to talk a little bit more about concealer. So a good thing to do is, because you're going to be blowing your nose and your face is going to be red, is to conceal those red spots. Conceal around your nose, conceal the spots that are looking real red. And a good way to help with this is color correcting. Now, I talked about color correcting a lot in my last podcast. And if you really want some extra tips about that, I would go and listen to that podcast. But I'll give you some tips about it in this one. So, color correcting, just as a quick crash course, is using an opposite color on the color wheel that's going to help to basically cancel out whatever color that you're using. So, if you're using a green, that's going to cancel out the red. And that's the main one we're going to talk about. But also a peach to cancel out the blue for under your eyes. So let's talk about under your eyes. If you're feeling like your eyes are looking real sunken in, real shallow, not sallow. I guess a little sallow too. But if you're looking like you need a little help under the eyes, then I would put a peach colored corrector underneath your eyes. I wouldn't go for something red because that's going to show up. And plus, we're trying to get rid of red today. We're sick. We're not having it. We're trying to get rid of that red. So go for a light peach color concealer or color corrector, just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. And do that before you put your concealer on over top. Do it very lightly, light, thin layers like I always say, and that's really going to help take away those dark circles that are under your eyes and help you look like you were not up all night because you couldn't sleep because you were just had to keep getting up to blow your nose or cough or something. So also a good thing for this is color correcting. Now, I assume you're blowing your nose a lot. That's a main thing when you're sick and your nose gets really red. Now, I would color correct this, but go very careful because a lot of times makeup will just break up around your nose, and that's just what happens. So take a little bit of green concealer, a very light green, not a dark, a very light color corrector that's green, and do just a tiny bit around those areas that are really red and kind of difficult. And then take a little bit of concealer and put that on top. Once again, light, thin layers. If you feel like you need a little more coverage, then just add a little bit more. light, thin layers, it's always easy to put on more if you have an issue than take off. So light, thin layers with this will really help get rid of a lot of that unwanted color in your face that's making you look really, really sick. Now, another thing that I had said about base was trying to stay away from powder as much as possible. Now, you can use a little bit of powder if you want to, but I definitely would try and stay as far away from powder as you can. A good thing to help with this, if you're more on the oily side, is to bring blotting sheets for throughout the day. That will help just to kind of blot off the excess powder blot off the excess oil and then go about your day, because you don't want to cake on the powder because it's going to make you look so much more sick than you already are. So stay away from that and just come prepared is the best way possible. And that goes with anything. Especially if you're doing a lot of correcting around your nose, you might want to bring your concealer just in case you feel like you're rubbing things off throughout the day. Another thing you want to kind of look into is what kind of tissues you're using. A moisturizing tissue can be really good for around your nose. I like those tissues for around my nose. If I use them for anything else, they kind of irritate my skin. So just be really careful if you are going to go with a moisturizing tissue or something else, because it could irritate your skin more than it helps you feel better. So definitely, if you've never used a moisturizing tissue before, don't just grab a pack and go to work, because it could really irritate your skin, and then that could be an issue. But if you know you don't have any issues with them, then I would definitely go for something moisturizing, especially if you're going to blow your nose, because you're just going to keep rubbing at it and it's just going to get red and red and red. And that's going to happen throughout the day in general. So be prepared and bring a little bit of extra concealer or something, or whatever you're putting around your nose, maybe even a little bit of your BB cream to kind of help add back that coverage that you're taking away every time you're blowing your nose. Also, just a good primer is going to help this, because, like I said earlier, to prime to protect your skin, but it'll also help to grip your makeup on, and hopefully to help not take it away as much as it would normally. So let's talk about lips now. So we've talked about the face, the eyes, the lashes, the brows. Let's talk about lips. Now, when it comes to your lips, you don't want to go for a liquid lipstick today. Dry. That's the main thing today, is dry. You want to stick with something hydrating. So maybe just chapstick. Or if you really want to wear a lipstick, wear a sheer lipstick or something that's very, very, very moisturizing. Don't go for something that's going to be a liquid lipstick that's going to be there and dry and your lips are going to crack and it's not going to be comfortable. You want to be as comfortable as possible today. That's the main thing. You're feeling sick. You're not feeling good. You really, really want to be comfortable. So the best thing that you can do is just go with a little bit of lip balm or a little bit of Vaseline if you're like me and somehow allergic to every lip balm ever. But I would go with something that's going to be very moisturizing on your lips. Anything. Chapstick is just a go-to because you probably already got that with you, and you can keep applying if your lips are feeling drier and drier throughout the day or whatnot. The same with a sheer lipstick or just a very moisturizing lipstick. Once again, this comes back to just being prepared. Bring it with you because it's going to move throughout the day. You can't wear your normal liquid lipstick that's going to stay. You don't really have to touch it up, but you're going to have to touch up today if you're deciding to go out with makeup on at all. If you're deciding not to go on with makeup, that's okay, but just keep in mind to take care of your skin before you leave the house. That's just the number one thing, is just to take care of your skin. Moisturize, 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 moisturize. I don't know how many times I can say that in this, is you're going to be so dry. Every time you're sick, it's just sucking all of that moisture out of you. It says, okay, you see all this moisture that you really like all the time? Yeah, we're going to take it. We're going to take it and we're just going to suck it out of you because you're feeling so sick. And then you feel dry and just brittle and you're like, water, I need water. But really, you do need some water. But just keep in mind that the main thing here is just to make sure that your skin is doing okay. Take some time for yourself and your skin in the morning. If you wake up and you feel pretty sick, work on just your skin. And if you're feeling like you don't want to put on any makeup on today, then don't. Just moisturize your skin and take care of your skin. Do your skincare routine, but stay away from anything that's going to be really abrasive on the skin or difficult, like a exfoliant or something like that. Stay away from an exfoliant. An exfoliant, anything with a little bit more of a harsh chemical. Don't do any peels, anything like that. Stay away from that. That's going to be your best bet. Just keep your skin hydrated and make sure it's okay. I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about a little bit more beauty tips for when you're not feeling too good.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
The GSMC Beauty Tips podcast. Now, before the break and this entire podcast, we are talking about beauty tips for when you're sick, when you're not feeling too hot. I am sick today, so I thought it would be an appropriate topic. Now, we talked about some makeup tips for when you're not feeling too hot. Now, let's talk about some fashion tips when you're feeling sick. Because not only do you want to make it look like, you're not sick or whatnot, it doesn't mean just your face. It means your whole getup. So let's talk about fashion. Let's talk about fashion. It's the sick brain, I promise you. I'm losing it here. Let's talk about a statement piece. Now, this can help when you're sick or if you've partied a little too hard before you go to work too. This is a good thing for that as well. A good statement piece can help draw the eye away from your face and kind of draw it somewhere else to help you, kind of get by. A bright colored pair of shoes, maybe big chunky necklace, something around those lines can, really help when it comes to kind of trying to take that attention away from your face. This especially is good if you decide, I woke up, I don't feel good. Let's put on an outfit, pick a statement piece real quick because I'm not going to put on any makeup. This really helps. This also helps if you partied a little too hard the night before or something like that. Now, let's move on to another thing that can be really helpful to wear and also super comfortable. A jumpsuit. Now, a jumpsuit can be easy, like an easy no-fuss outfit. No fuss, no stress kind of thing. And it looks good. It looks like you took your time to think about what you're going to wear. But also is super comfortable and can kind of feel like you're wearing pajamas. So you kind of get that two-way street where, you've got your fashion, you're looking good, you're looking nice, but you're also feeling so comfortable, and that's the big thing here. The big thing when it comes to fashion for when you're sick is just to be comfortable. You want to be comfortable without being too comfortable, if you know what I mean. We're not, lounging around our house sick. We're not in our, pajamas sick. We're trying to go to work, trying to make a living, that kind of thing. And we want to look good, but also feel good. So if you're going to work, don't dress in something that's going to be out of the normal for you. Dress in something that's going to be kind of normal, but also, keep it comfortable. You don't want to be uncomfortable. So I wouldn't go with any tight things, no tight pants, no tight shirts. Probably just stay away from dresses altogether. I assume it's probably around the winter time when you're not feeling good, because that's kind of just when it happens. That's life. So you probably won't be wearing a dress anyway, but a jumpsuit is a good way to kind of hit that middle road where you still look fashionable and you still look good, but you're also really comfortable. Now, another thing that can really help and be great is layers. Now, a lot of times when you're sick, you get hot, you get cold, you've got the fluctuation in temperature, you're just hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold kind of thing. So wearing layers is a really good thing. Wear layers that are comfortable. Don't wear too many layers, that kind of thing. Wear layers that are comfortable, a shirt, a jacket, maybe a scarf. Don't layer your pants because that could be a little bit too much, and also it can look a little weird. Just saying. But definitely wearing layers can help, because if you're feeling really cold, that can help keep you a little warm. But then throughout the day, if you're starting to feel a little hot, you can take the layers off and still feel fine. Remember, when you're layering, to layer in things that you can take off at work. Don't layer to the point where you're just like taking shirt off after shirt off after shirt off kind of thing. You're going to work, or you're going to something, you're trying to look presentable. Don't go too far with the layers. Also, big sunglasses. Big sunglasses can be a really good thing too if you're trying to not look sick. This is more for like if you're going to the grocery store or something like that. Wear a pair of sunglasses. If you're really feeling like sunglasses and a scarf, that can kind of help. Also can kind of make you look a little bit more sick, but the big thing here is just to stay comfortable. Pick out a good sweater or a good, something, and put on a good pair of pants, but make sure your pants are comfortable too. That's a big thing. Make sure you're wearing comfortable pants, but not sweatpants. Because unless you wear sweatpants to work or to wherever you're going all the time, then that's fine. But most places, you're not wearing sweatpants all the time. So I'd wear a good pair of pants, but make sure they're your most comfy pair of jeans or comfy pair of work pants or something like that. Go with comfortable. That's the big thing here. If you're going to wear a bunch of layers, don't wear tight to very loose. You want to keep it not so tight to your body. You want the loose comfortableness. You want to wear a really comfortable shirt or a really comfortable sweater. Make sure your scarf's not itchy, that kind of thing. The whole thing here that I'm trying to get across, that I've probably gotten across at this point, you're like, Colleen, stop, it's annoying. But is just to be comfortable. That's the big thing. You're not feeling good, and the thing that's going to make it worse is if you're uncomfortable. Don't wear a pair of heels. That's not going to help you feel comfortable unless you're like really comfortable in wearing heels, which I know a few people who are, and I mean, good on them. So if you are, then go for it. But I would stay away from heels. I'd go for flatter shoes. Go for shoes that are comfortable. Don't go for new shoes. New shoes are really going to be uncomfortable because you haven't really broken them in yet. So go for comfortable shoes. Go for a good pair of pants that are also comfortable, and some shirts. I wouldn't go skirts or shorts or anything like that. I would go for pants. I would go for a good shirt or a good sweater, maybe a good scarf if you're layering, and a jacket, and just be as comfortable as possible. And if you're going to layer, like I said earlier, layer things that are going to be easy to take off. Easy to take off throughout the day, because you might start to get too hot. You might have come to work and you're just freezing. But then you start to feel maybe a little bit better throughout the day, or you're just not as cold anymore and you're like, okay, now I'm getting too hot. Got to take this off. It's easier to take off clothes than to not, You're probably at work or a professional establishment. You can't just start taking your clothes off. Don't do that. Keep it comfortable, keep it casual, don't go overboard. And if you're feeling like super, super sick to the point where you think you're super contagious, call in. Just don't go in. Don't go in and stay at home. That's pretty much what it is. But when it comes to clothing, just be comfortable, but don't take away the aspect of fashion when it comes to that. You don't want to be so comfortable people are like, ooh, you look like you need to be in bed right now. No, you want to look you want to be comfortable while still looking semi-professional or still looking like you put some good thought into your outfit that morning. That's the big thing. You just want to make it look like you've put in a lot of effort when you really didn't do much but kind of threw on whatever you had laying around your closet. That's kind of where you want to go. Don't go too far with that, because then you can look like you're in pajamas. And most places are not, you're going to get some eyes. And I assume that if you're going to work, they don't want you in pajamas. Just saying. Unless they're fine with you in pajamas, then just go in pajamas. I don't know. Well, I'm going to take a quick break. And when I come back, we'll talk more about some beauty tips for when you're sick and not feeling too hot.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
GSMC Beauty Tips podcast. Now, before the break and this entire podcast, we've been talking about beauty tips for when you're feeling sick or you're not feeling too hot. And I'm not feeling too hot today. I'm super sick. But like I said in the beginning, the show must go on. So we are talking about some tips. And before the break, we talked about some fashion tips for when you're sick. Let's talk about some hairstyle tips for when you're sick. Now, most of the time when you're sick and you're heading back to work or you're going out or something and you don't want to put a lot of effort into things, and you maybe haven't washed your hair looks super greasy because you're sick and stuff like that, a good tip is dry shampoo. Now, dry shampoo can really help you look like you've, taken the time to wash your hair, or, even though you didn't. But dry shampoo can be really helpful. It can give you some volume while also stopping the grease and just the oils in general. It can really help you look like you're a lot more healthier than you might feel. So dry shampoo is a must when you're not feeling good. Another good thing, now this is not so much if you're going to work, I guess. I guess it could be for your commute there. But I doubt that at your work you're allowed to wear hats. But hats can be really good when it comes to you not feeling good if you're going to the grocery store or you're just going out for this or that. And hats can be really good, helpful to kind of hide your face and hide your hair. Your hair might be super greasy or super oily or whatever, and you just don't want to do much to it. A good hat can help with that. Even a good beanie can help with that too. A good floppy hat can too. Hats are always in. Hats are especially in all the time, especially in winter. It seems hats are very in winter. So it's a good time to grab that old hat you haven't put on in a while, put that on. It'll help you out a lot. Another thing besides a hat that can also kind of, I wouldn't say it doubles it as a hat, but it does kind of the same thing, is a scarf or a turban. If you wrap that around your hair, that can really help to give you like an effortless style that will really hide that hair. It'll give you a good style, stress-free, kind of quick updo that can make you look pretty good. And I think that's always a good way to go if you can't really figure out what else to do when it comes to your hair. You've got the makeup going, like we talked about earlier in the podcast, and then you've picked out some good fashion pieces that are making you feel good, and you look so good, and then you look at your head and you're like, I'm missing something. A good scarf or a turban can help with that, along with a hat. Another thing that can really help is to braid your hair. Braiding your hair can really give you a put-together look without looking like your hair is dirty. Now, if your hair is dirty and you do a braid, a lot of times it really just doesn't look like it. Any kind of braid, down braids, up braids, even braiding your bangs out of the way can be really helpful as well. And it can also look really stylish. Ooh, that sick brain, I tell you. Stylish and, help you look like you've put a lot more effort into it, even if you haven't. Now, I'm not too good at braiding my own hair, so I probably wouldn't do this one personally, just because I'm not the best at braiding. I can do some quick braids. Maybe I'd do that. That'd be okay, but I think I'll shy away from that one altogether. And then another one that's good, or just, this is just good in general, is putting your hair up is good. If you put your hair up, maybe if you tease your hair a little bit before you put it into a ponytail, can really help give you more volume, and more volume can help you look a little bit more awake and alive and up and ready, and like you've really taken the time. We want to look like we've taken a lot of time and put a lot of effort into our whole ensemble, even though we really haven't done that much. We've just been throwing things together. That's the point. We want to look put together without being put together, if that makes any sense. So that works with your high ponytail, any sort of ponytail, if you give a little volume, but also a good go-to is just a big messy bun. A lot of times, okay, so let me tell you a story real quick about a messy bun. So I really didn't think that messy buns could look good, especially on me, and I never really put my hair in any sort of buns. And I went to San Francisco with my sister and her friend. This was a good few years back, and she was like, no, you gotta put your hair up in a messy bun. I was like, I can't do that. I've never done that. I don't know what you're talking about. She goes, let me show you. And she puts my hair up in this messy bun, and I wore a messy bun the rest of the trip. I looked so good and so put together, and if it was effortless, and I didn't have to work. Like, I didn't have to work so hard to do it, and I looked good. And so I'm an advocate hardcore for a messy bun. So, and when I'm talking about a messy bun, you gotta be a little careful with the messy. You can go over messy with a messy bun, but I'm saying that a good messy bun, I'm losing it over here. But a good messy bun can really help you look like you're real put together. I really didn't think that was the case until my sister showed me it, and she was like, nope, this is true. And I was like, well, I was wrong. You are very correct. So a good messy bun, really good, helpful, and can be quick and simple for when you're not feeling good, but you got to do something to your hair. You look like you got the lion's mane on your head, and you got to do something to it. Just a quick messy bun is the way to go. It'll look great, put together, and especially if you're wearing a lot of layered clothes, it helps. And just as I've seen, as I've been looking around, on the interwebs, it seems that buns are in, whether it's messy or not, and they really kind of can pull whatever look that you're going for together. And a lot of times when you're seeing people layering their clothes together, you see them wearing a messy bun, so that kind of goes hand in hand. Either that or a high ponytail, or just a ponytail in general. Ponytails are in. I like to put my hair up when I'm not feeling good because it's quick and simple, and I still look somewhat put together. And I don't look like I've got a lion's mane on my head. So I would go with an updo. Updos are good. Braids are really good if you can braid. I'm still working on it. I'm getting there. I can braid normally, but I really want to be able to French braid or anything like that. If you can braid real simple, then a good braid is good. Hats are always great. I like to put a good beanie on when I'm not feeling sick either, just right over the top of my head. And I look pretty good together. And dry shampoo. Like we said, dry shampoo is going to be a saving grace for you. Dry shampoo will help you really look like you washed your hair, whether you did or not, whether you've been in bed sick for days and you're finally just crawling out of your little cave and you're like, oh, I gotta go outside, I gotta go do this, this will really help up that game. Same with a hat. That if you're just crawling out of your hole and you're like, okay, oh, the sun, it burns and I need to get up and I need to go do things. I've been laying in bed for days, that kind of thing. That, dry shampoo can help, but also a really good hat helps with that as well. So I'm telling you, cater your hairstyle to what you can do the best. And dry shampoo will really help when it comes to something like that, along with just hats and stuff. Do what's within your skill level and whatever you can do feeling the way you do. And these can really kind of help you up that style a little bit, or, give it a little oomph so you're not looking like you're just about to fall to pieces. Now I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some more beauty tips for when you're feeling sick and not feeling too hot.
The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Back to the GSMC Beauty Tips podcast. Now, this entire podcast we've been talking about beauty tips for when you're not feeling too hot, because I'm super sick. I'm not feeling too hot. So I really thought that I'd kind of share these tips, whether they were makeup, fashion, and hair. And now at the end of this, I thought I would talk about some essential things for when I'm not feeling too hot. Things that I like to have around and I like to do when I'm not feeling too good. So, number one is I like to sleep. That's it. Goodbye, folks. No, I'm just kidding. A good thing that I like to have is the Vicks shower tablets. Now, a lot of people don't know what these are, and I actually didn't know what these were until about sometime last year when my husband introduced me to them. And they're these little tablets that you put at the foot of your shower. You get your shower nice and steamy, and you stand in there, and it's like a Vicks bomb for your shower, and it really helps. Like, you can breathe again. I did one of those before I started doing this podcast because I needed all the help I could get. I sounded like somebody was just holding my nose so hard. That's what I sounded like this morning. So those are probably numero uno when it comes to my must-haves when I'm not feeling good. Also, a good comfy sweater. If I'm going to stay home and I'm not feeling good, I need a super, super comfy sweater. Something that's going to be super comfortable. And I usually wear a good comfortable pair of jeans. Unless I'm not going anywhere, then I'll wear a nice pair of like sweatpants or something like that. Today I'm in a one of my very comfortable sweatshirts. It's super soft on the inside from the Target. And I think it says indoorsy on it. So that's very appropriate for how I'm feeling today, which is very sick and very indoorsy. Wearing a good pair of jeans, sticking with some easy slip-on shoes. If I'm at home, it's slippers all the way. Slippers 100% are so helpful when I'm not feeling good. Because I don't want to put on a full pair of shoes. I don't want to put on a sock. I just want to slip my feet into some nice cozy slippers. That's what I want. A good sweater, some good slippers, and some Vicks tablets. Also some good tea. Now, I like the Sleepy Time Throat Soother tea. Now, that's really, really like a number one when it comes. I guess they're all number ones at this point. I'm going to be like, well, this isn't my number one, but this is also my number one. I'm sick. I'm all over the place. Bear with me, please. But a good tea is so good. So good. I like like I said, I like the Sleepy Time Throat Soother. I don't know if it's just me, but a lot of the Sleepy Time teas don't make me very sleepy. So when I'm sick, I love to use that to really help my throat out, help my insides out. I drink a lot of tea when I'm not feeling good. A lot of vitamin C is good too. If you're not feeling good, clear liquids, the like clear strawberry, I think it's supposed to be strawberry flavored, but it's the Gatorade. That one's really good. Gatorade is great when you're not feeling good. Just comfy, cozy outfits and that. If I need to go out, the number one thing that I'm going to do is put my hair up. I'm just going to put my hair up, so I need a good hair tie. I always wear a hair tie on my wrist, and that's usually the one I'm going to use because I always pick a good one and then I keep it there just in case of emergencies, or if I'm sick and I'm going to go out, I'm going to put on that. If I'm going out during the day for something that I need, then I'm going to put on a pair of sunglasses because that's going to be really helpful, especially it's super sunny outside and I've been inside all day, and then I leave the cave and I'm like, the sun, it burns. But so a good pair of sunglasses helps that. I just try to kind of keep it nice and simple without going over the top. I like to put on a good little eye cream that's nice and cool under my eyes. That really helps kind of waken me up and make my face feel better. Washing my face makes it feel good too. I started feeling sick last night, so I washed my face last night, and I did again when I took the Vicks shower this morning, and man, my face could feel things. My pores were so open. It was so mentholated. Really, it's 100% up to like everybody when it comes to this stuff, whether it's, what works best for you and what doesn't. Those things work best for me. I also like to put Vicks on my feet, and when I go to sleep, I don't like that. I don't like that. My husband kind of put me on it, and I'm not a fan of it, but it works. If you put Vicks on your feet, you put your socks on, and then you sleep in it, oh my gosh, it helps so much. Try it out if you're trying to figure out something that's going to help you feel better, but also it feels gross. Just fair warning. It feels disgusting, but man, it helps. Just the main things when it comes to trying to feel better is stay hydrated, drink lots of water, lots of clear liquids, just stay hydrated. Tea, that's water. Drink a lot of tea, that kind of thing. Vitamin C, those, what are they called? Emergency packets, those are good. Lots of emergency, just stay hydrated. Stay hydrated, stay moisturized, stay hydrated inside and out. That's the number one when it comes down to being sick. And also, if you're feeling sick and you really feel like you gotta go to work, but you're feeling real sick, just don't. A really, really big thing to do for yourself is just take care of yourself. You're not going to be at your 100% best if you're not feeling your 100% best. You're going to feel, like you're not doing your job properly, you're doing whatever you're supposed to be doing properly, because you're not feeling good. Take care of yourself, sleep a lot, get lots of sleep. That helps. If you feeling real sick and you're staying home from work or, from wherever you are, just try and sleep it off. Take some good medications, that kind of thing. Just take care of yourself, drink a lot of water. That's really what I'm trying to get across, I guess, through this entire podcast, is just drink a lot of water and take care of yourself, because you're not going to get any better if you don't. You're not going to get any better if you don't take care of yourself, and you're your number one. You're your one and only. You are the one and only you. Just letting you know there. But, you're the only you, and the only way to really get better is to take care of yourself. So don't push yourself when you're not feeling good. Don't feel like you have to be at work or have to be somewhere if you're feeling sick. Like, don't feel like it's something that's just you're meant to do. Like, I understand if you're expected to do some things and stuff, but when you get sick, it happens out of nowhere. Like, I thought I was fine yesterday. I was doing great yesterday, and then a little bit last night I wasn't feeling too hot. Then I woke up this morning and holy moly, I am done. I am not feeling good, but I'm doing my best to keep the podcast going for you guys. And you know what, guys? I want to thank you so much for listening to me ramble while I'm sick about ways to make yourself feel better, beauty tips to make yourself feel better when you're not feeling too good, too hot. Seriously, guys, thank you for listening to me ramble so much, and hit me up on Twitter or Facebook at GSMC_beauty tips or at GSMC beauty tips on Facebook. And I'm always on those. So let me know your sick remedies and your tips that I didn't talk about, or what you do when you're not feeling good, or your favorite things for when you're not feeling good. Just let me know on the at GSMC_beauty tips Twitter and the GSMC Beauty Tips Facebook page. I'm always on there. And once again, seriously, thank you guys so much for listening to the GSMC Beauty Tips podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Colleen, and I will talk to you in the next one.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network, from health and wellness to entertainment and life and happiness to sex and relationships. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast.